Hey, what's going on, everybody? Back here for night two of the 13 Nights of Halloween. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the 2007 horror remake of Stephen King's adaptation, It. The movie centers around a group of children in a fictional town of Derry, Maine, who are terrorized by an evil entity that takes the form of this terrifying clown named Pennywise. The children in this movie are known as a Losers Club. They must confront their fears and band together to defeat the evil creature known as Pennywise before it can strike again after 27 years. Pennywise is played by Bill Skarsgård in this movie, and this man has absolutely just made a fucking name for himself in the horror genre over the last 10 years, defining himself as a scream king right up there with Justin Long. And I can't say enough about Bill Skarsgård. He is absolutely one of my favorite modern horror icons. I've loved pretty much everything he's done, from playing Pennywise to playing in Barbarian, playing villains, playing in The Devil of All Time. I haven't seen the remake of The Crow. I've heard skeptical things about it, but I'm sure I'll enjoy his character in it nonetheless, even though The Crow is one of my favorite all-time movies, so I'll probably be pretty harsh on it. But regardless, I really love everything that this dude has done with the horror genre. Bill Skarsgård took inspiration from Tim Curry, who played Pennywise in the 1990 TV miniseries of the same name. Now, there's been this ongoing debate about who played it better, be it Bill Skarsgård or be it Tim Curry. I don't think either one has a debate in this. I think they both played the character stupendously. I think Bill Skarsgård plays it in a more terrifying manner, as to where Tim Curry was kind of joking around with the role, but making it terrifying in his own right. The intro to this movie is fantastic. It is one of my favorite intros, both from the 1990 and the 2017 remake. I think both of these are fantastic intros into horror movies. It starts out with Bill and Georgie. Bill has got a cold, he's sick, he's not feeling it, he's making a paper mache boat for Georgie. Georgie goes outside to play with the boat. The boat washes down the drain, and then one thing leads to another, and Pennywise shows up in the sewers down below. We'll get more into that later. From there, Pennywise then questions Georgie about if his brother's with him, if he has anybody with him, why he's playing out in the rain, if he wants some popcorn, if he likes the carnival. A lot of really weird questions that would be asked from a clown in a sewer. And of course, with Georgie being young and ease of mind, falls for Pennywise's tricks, and after so long, ends up dying. And from there, Bill is set to live his life without his brother, the family's traumatized, and this is kind of where we pick up into the plot of the movie. The kids in this movie, known as the Losers Club, make up of Bill, Beverly, Richie, Eddie, Stanley, and Ben. The time setting on the 2017 remake is in the 80s, and it's evident from the costumes, the hairstyles, the music, the technology. The way that the kids act in the movie is very 80s-esque. There's tons of things going on that you can realize it was before technology, good technology. Kids are riding their bikes, they're playing outside, they're throwing rocks at each other, they're getting bullied by the town bully. Some of them are working, some of them are just hanging out in the sewers, exploring. Love the vibe of this movie. So back to the kids here for a minute in the Losers Club. Bill, so he is the leader of the Losers Club. He's terrified of clowns. He's traumatized because he lost his brother Georgie. He's got a lot going on in his family with the family being traumatized. He constantly sees Georgie in random spots. At least he thinks he does. It's actually just Pennywise playing jokes on him to try and get in his head, try and scare him. But, he's a shy kid who has a stutter, who's trying to be the leader of this club. He's really, really inspirational. And then there's Beverly Marsh. She's a tough, independent girl who's abused by her father most of the movie, to the point where he's referencing her as her mom and things that he would do with her mom. It's a very SA kind of vibe. Not a great vibe at all. There's tons of abuse and domestic abuse toward her. She's bullied by the kids in school, but she's got thick skin. She deals with it all. She prospers through. She's a very, very independent character. And then there's Richie. He's probably my favorite character of the Losers Club just because he has so much sarcasm. He acts like me. I have tons of sarcasm. I'm just a jokey, witty individual, and I think that's why I connected to Richie so well. But he's a foul-mouthed and sarcastic boy who's obsessed with horror movies. Who would have knew? And then there's Eddie, and he's an asthmatic boy who's afraid of germs and monsters. His mom is like a germaphobe. He's a germaphobe. He takes his inhaler very seriously, and that comes into a plot point later on in the movie. Actually becomes a big plot point later on in the movie. But he's very shy and kind of off-putting, but in a way to where like you're kind of rooting for him, you know, like you're kind of rooting for this kid to get what he needs in life. Then there's Stanley. He's a shy and very anxious boy who's afraid of the dark. He's got a lot of things going on family-wise where he's supposed to be adapted into the Jewish culture, and he's not doing his homework. He's not doing what he's supposed to for his family, and that makes him feel shunned by his family, as well as he is kind of shunned by a lot of the people in school because he's so shy and just doesn't go out there and get what he wants. Inevitably, that becomes his downfall in this movie. And then there's Ben. He's the overweight schoolboy who's bullied at school, constantly bullied by all the other kids, and he's the new kid in school. He doesn't have any friends. He's getting to know Derry Main until he meets Beverly Marsh. The two hit it off. They become good friends. And then Ben gets, united with the Losers Club. Now, with that being said, the introduction to the children is over. There's one bully that we have to talk about in this movie, and we'll get to that here in a little while. But the cycle of Pennywise in this movie takes place every 27 years. And it's tied to the supernatural or mythological aspect of Pennywise's existence through the exact nature of this connection. It's not fully understood, but it's to be the fact of it feeds off of people's fears. The full understanding is not known, but a lot of people have claimed this to be a cosmic event, that it is a cosmic event, a ritual practice, or simply a predetermined pattern of Pennywise's behavior every 27 years. There's actually a ton of bullying going on in the movie It and the book series too, but it's one of the main themes of this movie. It talks about childhood trauma and abuse and harassment, and the character in this movie that plays it is Henry Bowers. He's the main bully character in the film, and he's a popular and aggressive student. He's often the leader of the bullying group. He's known for his cruel and violent behavior toward the Losers Club. He's constantly, antagonizing them and pushing them forward, hitting them, cutting them, cursing at them, all kind of things. And I guess the dude that played Henry Bowers in the 2017 remake was so far into this movie that he scared the kids at times because of how good he was at bullying, to the point where he had to go check on the kids after the acting was done to be like, "Are you okay?" And I say that because Henry Bowers throughout this movie is one of the main antagonists outside of Pennywise. But the two kind of work hand in hand together at a certain point. But it creates so much trauma and so much fear and tries to manipulate Henry Bowers into bullying the kids and doing things to his dad, so that way that Pennywise can feed off of this and become stronger, become a stronger entity to take over after 27 years. And because of that, Pennywise grows stronger and stronger and stronger, to the point where he's trying to section off the kids one by one, manipulate their fears, that way he can try to eat them or feed on them or whatever he does, to take them back to his lair in the sewers to make sure that, they're never seen or heard from again. But as the movie progresses, the kids start to learn that Pennywise is actually feeding off of their fears. So they learn that if they aren't scared of Pennywise, the less that he can do to them. And hand in hand, it leads to the Losers Club inevitably getting the upper hand on Pennywise. If you haven't checked out either of these movies, you definitely should. The original from 1990 is fantastic for a mini TV series. The 2017 remake is just as good in my opinion. The Chapter 2 version that was made a few years later for the 2017 remake is okay. It continues the story well. I think there's just some acting subplots in that don't work well with me. But all in all, the series as a whole is a fantastic Halloween watch. I turn this one on at least once every Halloween. The series itself, I watch all three movies at least once every Halloween, simply because I love the aesthetic. I love the time setting. I love the way it makes me feel because it's in that fall era in Derry, Maine, and it's in the 80s, and it just takes me back to childhood moments. Like I keep saying, these films are absolutely fantastic. The It 2017 remake, domestic box office was 353 million, worldwide 700 million, tons of critical reception at an almost 90%. I absolutely think you should check out these movies. They're, without a doubt, some of my favorite Halloween movies to turn on every year. The movie also went on to win several awards at the Saturn Films for Best Horror Film, Best Performance by a Younger Actor, and Best Supporting Performance by Bill Skarsgård. That'll do it for this one for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check out my TikTok if you enjoy my other short videos here. I post different stuff over on TikTok as well. I'll leave it in the description below. I appreciate everything you guys do. Remember to check under your beds and stay safe out there.